My name is Lauren McAlexander, and I work in marketing and advertising in Columbia, South Carolina. I've known Jeff for years. I met him at some networking events for local organizations, and we continued our friendship throughout the years, and just have always kind of known what he's been doing, what he's been dabbling in. So when it was time for us to purchase a house, I pretty much already had my mind made up that I was going to give him a call. So when we were looking to purchase a house, it was a pretty competitive market, and we had to be on top of it. Basically, houses were being sold or going under contract before we could even go see them. So he was really on top of it. We came across this neighborhood and basically decided this is where we wanted to be after seeing quite a few other houses. And I told him, only look in this neighborhood. And so he did his research and was reaching out to people to see when houses were going on the market. And I think this house went on the market, and within 5 minutes he was calling me asking when I could get over here to see it. And my husband and I came right over. We pretty much had a contract written up before we had even seen the house. And that was all she wrote. It was a very quick process and very seamless, very simple process from start to finish. So moving into this house was a very quick process. We had some things that needed to be fixed before closing. The seller assured us that those were done, and we came over that night pretty much right after getting the keys to start preparing everything for painting, new paint. And we noticed the air conditioning was not working, and it was supposed to. So I immediately called Jeff. I was like, hey, this is not working. Like, the air's not working. He's like, well, they said it was fixed, but like let me check. And he immediately came over. I don't know what he was doing, but I can assume he kind of dropped everything, came over, called their realtor, got everything taken care of. We had an HVAC guy out here within 30 minutes saying, oh yeah, this isn't fixed. They fixed it. Thankfully, we were not living in the house at the time, so we still had an air-conditioned apartment to go back to, but it was resolved and fixed within 2 to 3 days. No questions asked. Jeff took care of everything for us, and kind of alleviated that pressure, the initial fear of, oh, this is what they say about becoming a homeowner, is everything breaks and it's on your responsibility, and he really handled that and took care of that for us. I have heard some pretty horrific stories of people who the realtor just doesn't know what to look for or what they're talking about, or they just want to push the sell and get it done pretty quickly. And one of the reasons I chose Jeff was because my husband and I had a very good working relationship with Jeff, and we could be very honest and open about things. We saw a lot of houses that at one point I was just desperate to get a house, and I was like, oh, I like it, let's put in an offer. And Jeff would kind of walk us through. He knew, he was thinking and working in our best interest. And so he knew, for example, one of the houses we saw was way too small. It checked the box that it had a backyard that was fenced in, but the house was way too small, and he just kind of walked me through the process of, okay, how do you guys get ready in the morning? And we realized that layout, the home size, was not going to work for us. And I don't think that every realtor works that way. I think that they kind of just let you do what you want to do, and they don't consider, down the road, okay, if you want to have kids or you do get a second dog, how much room are you going to have? And that was something I was very grateful for working with Jeff with, was he was thinking about our future. He wasn't just, wanting to sell us on a house. Something that Jeff did, and one of the reasons I recommend him to a lot of people, is he truly did go above and beyond in making sure that we were getting the best house for us. He knew what me and Tyler were looking for. He knew what style home we were looking for. He knew how old we wanted it to be. He knew we had to have a fenced-in backyard, and he did not show us any house that wouldn't fit our absolute needs. He was very intentional and thoughtful in showing us these houses, and he was just very open and very honest in the communication with us on what to expect, and there were no surprises at all. So we had a loan officer that I am also friends with, and Jeff had never worked with her before, but he immediately reached out, established a relationship with her so that we could all be on the same page, which was, again, just huge for us, because being a first-time home buyer is terrifying, because you see all these forms and all these dollar signs, and you don't know what means what, or whose money's going where, or how much money you're supposed to owe. And so if I had any questions that he didn't know the answer to, he was able to call her, or if she didn't know the answer to something, she was able to call him. And it was just a really, really productive working relationship that he established with essentially a complete stranger. He, didn't meet her until closing, and we worked seamlessly together. She thanked me for working with him because he was so simple to work with, and all the definitions and just all the scary things that come along with buying a home. He just did an awesome job at explaining to us, what to expect, and how, this whole process was going to go. I felt a little bad at some points just because I know he was on vacation or he was traveling, and there was a lot of, calling and texting back and forth, or I would see a listing and, from the buyer side, it doesn't show, if it's under contract or any of those things. And so I'd send him a list of like 10 houses I wanted to see, and he'd come back and, 2 of them would be even available for us to look at. But he was very, very quick to respond. Any questions or concerns I had, especially during the closing process with just all the forms and the documents that were really confusing, I could call him and he would walk me through what it meant, what the seller was supposed to be giving us, and so on and so forth, what we were supposed to be responsible for. And he did a really good job of educating us on all the things that we needed to know as a first-time home buyer that we just simply did not know. So my husband and I got back from our wedding, and we had a notice on our door from the apartment that our lease was up for renewal, and so it was kind of time for us to decide what we wanted to do next, if we wanted to stay in an apartment or if it was time to look at a house. We had never really thought about putting roots down in South Carolina, but we both have established jobs that we have no intention of leaving, so we knew it was kind of time. So for us, it was just allowing us that freedom of having a space here that we don't have to rely on anyone else. We don't have to, call a maintenance team or, handle any of that stuff. We can make changes we want as necessary. And honestly, we're young and we're looking to start a family, and we have 2 wonderful dogs that we wanted to give a good life, and we were tired of waking up at 6 a.m. and walking down 3 flights of stairs. So we knew we wanted a yard, and we just wanted a place to really establish ourselves, and we were able to accomplish that with purchasing this house. It checks all the boxes for us. My name is Lauren McAlexander, and I recommend anyone in the Columbia area to leave it to Lawler.